Alright, this is the fun stuff. So, I've tacked this together, and what I want to do now is I'm going to use oxy-acetylene mild steel rod. Using a torch heats up a large area. If I let it cool slowly, the metal stays soft, annealed, if you will. So I like that because when it's soft, I can bump it. I can use wooden hammers for that matter. It's easy to manipulate the metal. But what we're going to do is tack it in a few places. It's going to warp and take off on me. So I'm going to work my way back and forth. And then I'll weld it solid. Once it's welded solid, that's where I'm going to get Lou to help me out and run torch. And then I'll heat up 1.25 inches roughly at a time, red hot. Hammer it until the weld disappears. You forge it. It all becomes one. There's no joint. Also, before I can finish welding, you can see this corner. This is a bigger radius than this. So we're going to do some shrinks up here. Those I heat up red hot. I'll explain that a bit better when I get to it. But for now, I'm just going to set up the camera, do a few tacks and see how it goes. You turn your heat on the rod instead of the metal as much as you can. My glasses may be a bit too dark. Okay, there's a little tack. And as long as it's staying together, I'd carry on. That was a bit thin because I ground it. Okay. I'm going to go back here where it's flush. And you just sort of work your way around. And then once you run out of places that are flush, then you need to go back, tap it a little bit with the hammer, make it all flat again, and carry on. If you don't quench it, it's very easy to hammer flat. Now I could do this with a wire feed, but then it's very difficult to hammer weld it. It's not just mild steel. Well, it's a different process. It heats up a very small area very quickly and cools it off. Now you can see this is all staying together. So I'm going to take advantage of that and keep welding. Sometimes it goes the other way. If they're a perfect fit, sometimes you don't even need to add filler rod. You can just melt the two pieces together. And so when it gets too hot, you just turn your torch away and let it go. So it's kind of fun. You never know how it's going to go. I think I bumped my settings on the torch with my wrist. You see. Yeah. So you want a neutral flame. You don't want that feather sticking out. And the white part, the cone, you don't want that touching the metal because that'll add carbon to your steel. High carbon steel is considered 2 or 3%, I believe. So you don't want to add that to it. You want this to just be nice mild steel. You can see it's actually welding pretty good and it's not really warping on me. You got to change the angle of your torch. Got another spot here that distorted into being perfectly flush. So you go after the low-hanging fruit, maybe would be a term. Anyhow, go after the easy spots first. Of course, it's nice if you have the old keyhole shape in your weld so you know you have complete penetration. But that's for another day to get into the complete theory of welding and techniques. This is going quite well. It's old steel. Lots of times it doesn't weld quite as nice. I mean, I haven't blasted it and cleaned the back side of it. So I wouldn't be surprised if parts of it mess up on me. But so far, it's working out very well. You getting sparked up there, Lou?
Just one good one. You think Patrick will send you a new shirt?
Oh, geez. I forgot I was wearing this nice one. Yeah, I think after the Model A, we're going to bring in Patrick's 57 delivery outside, Pontiac. I didn't want to bring that in yet. After meeting, Chad and his wife in Fredericton, it got me really wired up to work on something of my own for a change. So that's why I wanted to bring this Model A in right away and play with it. Now, some people have asked me, how far am I going to go with it? I'd originally just planned on doing a chop. Had a lot of requests for how do I do a chop. But man, I'm having a good time with this. So I'm not sure. I mean, I could put a frame under it. I think the first thing I'll do after we get the chop done is repair the rust on the lowers. Again, it's a Model A, it's real simple. This wouldn't be any part original. It would be a street rod, hot rod, so it'd be a custom frame. And then when we get to making the lowers, there's areas that get made differently if it's going to be dropped down, channeled, or built as a street machine instead of an original car. So we can go over that when I get to that part. Sort of depends on what people want to see. I mean, I'm having a good time doing this. I'm also interested in if people are doing their own cars or different particular tasks. If they had questions that I could possibly help with, they only have to ask, and I'd be happy to show what I know. And if I don't know, I can talk to people who might know. So feel free to ask questions. I would say feel free to make suggestions, but I don't think there's any shortage of that. That's fun. Okay, I'm going to come over here now. It's going to be a little bit tougher, I'm guessing. I'm thinking this is going to want to warp some more. So what I'm trying to do is just take a tack. Even if it starts warping on me, I want to get a good tack. And after it cools, it'll be soft and I can hammer it flat and do another tack. If you go too far when it starts to warp, you end up leaving a lot of tension in the panels that you can't get out easily. So, anyhow, so far, we're batting 1,000. You can buy mild steel rod. You can actually buy the rod I buy for my TIG welder. They tell me is a little more refined than just normal steel rod. TIG welding counts on absolute cleanliness. So they have really good rod. So I generally just go in and say I need some TIG rod. This is like 1/16. You can use bigger, but I really think this fits good enough. And the optimum is that I have it fit so nicely that I just melt it together and I don't have to add any filler at all. So, as you can see, it's slower than wire feed, but I find it way easier to fill a big gap because I can heat it up. And if it gets too hot, I just turn the torch away, watch it cool, and go back in. And that is quite a gap here, but that's no big deal. And this is, my dad taught me how to run torches when I was about 10. I'm starting to get the hang of it. Okay. So I gotta stop and have a look. That's actually, wow, it's not really taking off on me. It's looking pretty good. This, I'm gonna have to think about doing some shrinks. This is good in here, so I'm gonna do some tacks in here. Maybe a couple more here. And then, actually, I might do some more. One. I've got my acetylene quite low, like, I don't know, around 3 pounds. I did balance my gauges actually, which we normally never do. That's a whole nother process you can look at, but they taught me in body school. Tip anywhere from a 00 to a 01. Makes your job easier to control the heat. Oh yeah. Okay. It's also peaceful. No big fan going. You don't suddenly run out of wire. The wire never bird's nest on me. But occasionally it gets too hot to hold. Anyhow, that's going quite well. Gonna go check the back and see how that is. Yeah, that's a bit much. Yeah. Well, I can do a bit more here so it's lined up. I'm tempted to crank up the torches a little. Would just make it a bit quicker.
Could that cause warping?
Well, that's a problem. It's easier to burn holes. I mean, I haven't torch welded in a couple of months, so getting back in the groove, small tip, low heat, it's a little slower. With a bigger tip, yes, you have danger of heating up a bigger area and more warpage. But I really want to make sure I'm melting all the way through. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is stop. And I'm going to get a dolly and gently tap this stuff around. I love this. I mean, that's not bad. Okay, this is out too far, so I'm gonna have to clamp something to the inside of that and weld that edge. Anyhow, let's go have a look over here. I'm gonna take this clamp off now. I just use that to help hold this big flat area together. This is all really flush. That is getting a bit tougher. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to weld this as flush. I'm going to do some tacks, see how far I can get. Now, the more we weld this, the more we see how much this has to be shrunk. They just don't line up. And I can't push that out enough. Anyhow, that's cool. It'll all work out. I'll just do a little more welding and then we'll do some shrink. And obviously I have a striker in my back pocket. You don't want to use a bit lighter for lighting the torch. I'm going to crank my heat up a little more this time because now I'm feeling all confident. You know, when I was 16, 17, I was brazing stuff together in a body shop, hobby corner or auto body. Brazing is not something you want to do on the outside of a car because nothing really wants to stick to it over a long period of time. So I'm going to have to get a water bottle set up. I'm going to do some shrinks. And then I can finish welding. I guess we'll do the shrinks before we hammer weld. This welding rod's getting a little short.
Is it warm?
Well, my hand's getting pretty close to the torch, which is the worst part. And normally you just let it weld itself to the car. You grab another length of rod and you weld it onto the end of this one. And you carry on. Anyhow, okay. Okay, so, gee, that's a flush again. Let's see what happens over here. Yeah, I might lose a couple of these bullet holes. Just might have to happen. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to get a water bottle set up. We're going to use the torch and we're going to do some shrinks. This is about shrinking. Just a quick refresher. When we heat up an area, let's say we're looking at the side of the steel. We heat up an area red hot, size of a dime. It rises up, or sometimes it comes down, whichever way it goes. We'll say it rose up. Our first smack, we put a dolly behind it and we smack it right on the button. That's red hot. That allows the cold steel around it to move into that red hot area. And then we hold our dolly to stabilize it and we slap the steel toward the red spot. Then we quench it. That makes it very hard, but that'll all soften up when we start hammer welding this. But what I have too much metal around this curve. So I want to do a few shrinks. You know, here, here, here. Maybe out here a bit. We'll see. It depends what the metal does, right? So we'll shrink that and try to bring it in. If I hold the dolly right behind here and I hit it quite hard on the dolly with a hammer, I squish the metal and stretch it and I make this longer. We're going to see how this comes in when we shrink it and see how much I have to manipulate that. We also still have to weld this and then hammer weld it. I don't know if we'll do any hammer welding on this particular night, but we're going to fire up the torch. I just have to fire up my striker that I keep in my back pocket. Now, the important thing, Lou's going to run torch, and I set it up, and the cone, that white part you see in the middle, you don't want that to touch the metal. There's a nice neutral flame. We're going to go like that. So she's going to go in really close like this. Heat up an area the size of a dime. And I go out, and then I smack it, dolly behind it, and I work around, and then we quench it. So it's just that easy, folks. So we set this up over there, or maybe right where it's at. Yeah, clamp it on there. Right over across the middle might work good. Okay. So one never knows how it's gonna go. Watch you don't bump the knobs. Okay. I've got this and this.
Water's after?
Water's right here. So I'll put the water over here. So go back in. Let's try one over here. A little bit of ways. Right in so the feather's just above the metal. Slower. Out. Okay. Now, we're going to try one up here. Same deal. Getting close. Now, you can rest your hand if you want. Yeah, just so it makes it a little easier over this.
Right there?
Right there, yeah. Oh. Because there's less extra steel up here than there is down here. Now we're going to go down and do one right about there. That's right. A little closer. Oh. Okay. I'm going to hammer that one bullet hole. Yeah, a little, maybe. Okay, let's try one way over here. I just want to add a hair of oxygen. It's just a bit of a feather sticking out there. There. Okay, let's try one right here. Try not to, yeah. Oh, perfect. Whoop, don't let the white part touch. Yeah. Out.
Does it look like it's shrinking?
Oh yeah, yeah, I can feel it. In fact, it shrunk in here, but not at the very edge. So I want what we call a pinner. You've heard that term, I'm sure. Let's do a pinner right here. And it's just a little one. Yeah, and you're trying not to burn a big hole because you're on the edge. It's really easy to screw up. Out. Okay.
Does that help?
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that's coming much better. In fact, overlapping a bit, but let's try one right here. Right there. No bigger than a dime. Red hot. Move around. Oh. Okay. Now, see, this is pulled in, so now it's touching the layer underneath it. I'm not going to worry about that just yet. I would like to see a small one right near the edge.
You'd like down here?
You betcha.
Okay.
Good luck. A little closer. Oh. Now, okay. I'm getting interference from the piece in behind, so just move that way for a second. I'm going to quickly run the zip cut through there.
You gonna burn it?
Please. This is cool. Sparks are going your way. Okay. Now, I'm going to stretch the bottom a little bit here. I mean, you can see we're getting closer. We got a ways to go. Okay, right here. That's right, circular motion. Oh! How are we doing? Cool. All right. We need one right here. Okay. I can feel it. Oh. So, shrinking's really easy to do. Figuring out where to shrink is really tough. This isn't so bad, but if you're doing a hood, it can be very tough because one wrong shrink can move a lot of metal when it's close to flat. Now, I hope the camera shows this. I mean, that's really close. But we got to do another one here.
And then we'll take a shot of it.
Down near the edge. A shot. Oh, okay.
Right here?
Here. Because I've shrunk up above it. So now I got to do the edge. So move in. Yeah. Try to go down to the edge. Oh, oh. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Like, that is almost bang on. So now what I want to do is, because I'm so freaking close, I want to weld a bit more here. I'm going to hammer that a bit more. Got to get over here. Don't burn me.
Well, don't get very touch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right on. I am going to get some long vice grips just to pull that in. So if I weld a bit more, and I weld a bit more, that tightens it up. And I mean, it's not like we've only shrunk the one area, like it suddenly goes in. Like it's drawn the panel in. This bullet hole is screwing up the tension. I think we're going to need a couple more right beside it. But I'm going to get my long vice grips that I carefully set somewhere. And then I'll over there. You can never have too many vice grips. Every one of them has a use. Okay, I'm gonna see. I gotta grab another rod. Kicking around for a while, so I do sand them to clean any junk, rust that might be on the outside of them. Can I see that, please, Lou?
You betcha.
Yeah, so this is going quite well.
This one's it.
Let's see if it starts to take off on me. Heritage Brothers have another video out when he got hydrorized and jumped in the Pacific. Good video. And I talked to Cassidy today and she's getting ready to go to SEMA. Ooh, maybe that's top secret. Okay. Can I get some out here? Man, these glasses are dark. Whoop, no, that's taken off. As long as they stay flush and it takes off a little bit, you can weld a little bit, but you don't want to go too far. I'm going to try to get some back here. At least a tack. Whoop. I was trying to carry on without filler rod. Didn't work. Too early to be hot dogging. Okay. Yeah, let's see what happens. The metal will tell you. That's what it comes down to. How far can I go? Uh-oh. I meant to do that. Yeah. That's not very pretty. That's going to take some extra wax when we're hammer welding, that's for sure. Got a little greedy there. Anyhow, you get the general idea. Yeah. Oh, guess I didn't need to shut that off. I think now I'm going to hammer it a bit more first and see what we have. Metal. Let us know. So close. So close. And so close. That's what we're shooting for. We're almost there. Well, I mean, some of this is. This is lined up over here now. I can see that. Ooh, that was warm. Yeah, we need some shrinks here. I should have done more about that at the time. So, a few more shrinks, and that's really looking nice. And then you see the general idea. I can finish welding it. And then, we can show you some hammer welding. Except, yeah, I guess Monday. We'll see what we do on the weekend. Got to take some time off here and there. So it's quite possible we will show you hammer welding on Monday. But let me get that set up. Honorable producer, camera person, apprentice. She does it all. Someone asked how tall she was. She presents as 6'2".
Torch in one hand, camera in the other.
That's right. Okay, I'm gonna have to go on that side here because I should have done this first. Oh. Okay, let's do a shrink right here. Well, one fella, I think from New Zealand or Australia, gave us some advice on lighting, and I'm trying to take it. if you're watching in the right place, you can actually see it pulling in. We're gonna need another one here.
Obviously, my tines are bigger than yours.
Yeah, I see that.
Sorry.
That's all right. Okay. Yeah, right around that. We're gonna need another small one here because that bullet hole really stretched things up. That's pretty good. And actually it's right here, and I might just have to zip cut that more. Okay, I would like one right here. Okay, so you get the idea. That I am going to have to do a relief cut because it's still overlapping a bit, but they are going to be right flush. Whoop, I feel one more. What I'm doing is I feel down, and if you put a straight edge on that, like you can see that there's no bulge. It's flat. So I just feel one more spot. Right there. Doesn't have to be a big one. Okay. I won't make you watch any more of this. I'm going to zip cut and I'm going to weld that. And I will finish welding this. The next day, which will probably be Monday, we might show the 55 on the weekend. But we'll come back and we'll hammer weld this. And that weld will disappear. It's really kind of cool. If you thought this was cool, just wait. I'm really into this stuff. All right, what are you doing?
Trying to show your nice work.
Okay, it's really close. I zip cut that a little bit. These will be flush. I mean, let me show it from here. You can see it's straight up and down, right? It worked. So, Sunday we do the draw still. The trunk lid. Dig that. Trying to think if anyone, remember some of the questions. I do read the focus group, and I will refresh myself with some of the questions. Feel free to ask stuff you want to see. We'll try to make it happen. Anyhow, have a good night. Cheers, guys.